Welcome, Inspire Beauty, to your Monday night team training. I just want to share the screen and get going on announcements so that I am not taking up the time tonight because we have such an amazing guest speaker in store. But I do want to recognize, guys, so far on our team this month, we're almost at the halfway mark, and 11 lives have been changed so far this month. Sarah coming in hot with SC8 right now. Myself as well as Ashley, both at SC5 with 3 lives changed, and Olivia on the board with 2. Guys, I want to see more lives being changed selfishly because I can't change that many on my own, right? Just alone, I can only do so much. With you guys, we can extend our reach beyond people that I would ever be able to reach and touch in my own network and business. So keep posting, keep being consistent, keep finding ways to connect with people and invite them to keep you accountable, to join your group, to help you stay fit this summer, all the good stuff, right? We've got so many great things going on, you guys, with Ultimate Portion Fix, with 21-Day Fix, 21-Day Fix Extreme Real Time, coming up soon with MM100. That's going to be coming up here like real soon, right at Summit. That being said, you guys, Summit coming up in July, okay? Don't forget that last week they opened up the tracks so that you could pick out what workout you were doing, pick out your super trainer, and also pick out any add-ons if you want it. You guys, I'm going to tell you a quick little story about Summit, okay? Because I have this like feeling in my gut, and like I'm like one of those people. I'm not a mom yet, just a dog mom, but I have like motherly instincts. When I was a teacher, like I have motherly intuition. And when I don't hear from people, and it might not be any of you because you're on the call tonight, all that good stuff, but when I start to not hear from people, and I don't hear their excitement in Summit, or their excitement in getting a hotel room, or their excitement in picking their trainer, I start to think, I wonder if they're still going. And the reality is, you guys, my very first Summit, I was broke as a freaking joke. And I called my upline coach. I called her literally 2 days before the event in Vegas. I did not have a flight yet. I could not pay her for the hotel room she promised we could stay in together. Like all this stuff. I was broke. And she listened to me. She was always so good at just listening to me every time I dumped my problems on her. Bless her heart and soul. But she listened to me, but she never gave up on me. And she encouraged me, Brittany, find a way, because this is going to transform your life. You guys, if I hadn't had gotten my butt to that very first summit, my very first summer, I probably would not be sitting here today. It's a fact. And if you have a ticket in your hand for Summit, or you had a ticket in your hand for Summit at some point, and you either gave that up, or you're considering giving it up, or considering it like just to be like, I paid money for something that I'm not going to use, guess again and get your freaking butt to Indianapolis, you guys. The faces that I see on that graphic, the 20 ladies so far that have said, yes, I want you there. You better be there with me, because it is not just like game changing, guys. Our business is awesome because it's fitness, it's nutrition, right? Like, and support, like we get that, but there's community in this that nothing else in the world can contend with when it comes to the industry of fitness, nutrition, support, community, financial freedom. Like all the things are checked off. And you're not only going to hear and be inspired by all of those things at Summit, but you're also going to be face to face with people in your community who just want to freaking love you and befriend you. So get there. If you haven't purchased a ticket yet, there's still time. Time is quickly running out though. So make sure that if you don't want to miss out on July 11th through 14th with us in downtown Indianapolis, go snag that ticket, coachsummit.com, you guys. Rank cutoff is June 6th. It's quickly approaching. That's also, I've been talking about Diamond, but guys, that's for Emerald too. Do you want to get to Summit and see your name on that big old freaking banner with Emerald coaches? And when you get there, we all get a lanyard with our name on it. It's like super official and fancy and awesome, right? But then under your name, you get a ribbon. And everybody's ribbon says their rank as of June 6th. So your rank today, on May 13th, could say coach. And you could go all the way to June 6th and say, I'm just going to have the blue one that says coach. That's fine. You can do that. But you have an opportunity to have the rank above coach, the first rank of your business, the green little ribbon that says Emerald. And there's just something about having that green ribbon around your neck, seeing your name on a big old banner that just boosts your confidence. And so even if you're like, I'm not really going for diamond, why the heck not go for emerald if you're not already there? And if you're already at emerald, why not go for ruby or diamond? Anything, right? There's still plenty of time to make that happen. That being said, next Monday, a week from tonight, I will be hosting Emerald University. It's something we do every month where I talk about what is emerald, why you should be emerald, and how you can stink and get there so easily. And so make sure to set a reminder for next Monday night, 5 p.m. Pacific time, same place, and I'll be talking all about emerald. Also next week, get amped up, you guys. Vegan Recover comes out, as well as packets of the Whey Recover. So your customers can now purchase packets of Recover if they'd rather prefer that and take that in their gym bag with them or on the go. And if you are dairy-free or you have clients that are dairy-free, Vegan Recover is coming out. I'm so freaking mega pumped about this. Okay, that's it for announcements. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker tonight. You guys, I am so amped up to introduce her. I asked her probably a year ago to speak on our call. And life just happens, right? Like we get busy. She is a rock star coach. So I know she is busy just running her own race. And so we kind of just let it be. But I circled back and was like, dude, I'm trying to get guest speakers on our team. And you're like top on my list because I already asked you a year ago and I need you on this call. She's somebody in this network, you guys, who has inspired me when I was reinventing our business, our team, my business, all this good stuff. She is a 2019 Premier Coach. Her and her team rocked their way to that honor this last year. She's a lifetime 3-star as of Thursday, so we should be hearing her name announced on the National Wake Up Call here coming up a week from today, next Monday. She's a wife to Caleb. She's a mama to twins. You guys, you're going to hear her story. I'm not going to get into it too much because I could probably cry just telling it. But her story is what has inspired me that, man, I can do hard things. I was reading this week in a book talking about willingness and that, we have to have a willingness to actually work towards our goals, and that really it doesn't come down to, like, a lot of times people utilize circumstances as like the reason they stop. Like I stopped working my business because life got in the way, or I got this new job, or I had a death in my family, or illness in my family, or we moved across the country, or whatever the situation and circumstance is. I've seen people in this business stop their business because of it. And I've also seen people in this business thrive in the business because of it. And so it's not about a circumstance in your life, you guys. It's a willingness to rise through or walk through it, trudge through it, crawl through it. But it's a willingness to do that so that you can get out on the other side to really what you were placed on this planet to do and the greatness that you have in store. So I'm going to stop my share. Lauren Lundberg is our coach tonight, you guys, to take over this call. Lauren, can you take it away for us?
Yes, thank you so much for the awesome introduction and for having me tonight. I am just going to speak from my heart. I have no notes in front of me. I didn't bring a presentation because I think it's so important for us to learn from each other and to hear each other's stories, because sometimes it's just hearing what inspired someone else to keep pushing. And I am probably one of the most vulnerable people you will ever meet. When I started coaching, it was December of 2014, 15, I can't remember. Anyways, I don't want to do math right now, but I've been coaching for 4.5 years. And when I started coaching, I was such a chronic yo-yo dieter that when I heard about Beachbody, I was like, all right, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I need to go all in with nutrition, not even all in. I was just like, I have to stop this chronic yo-yo dieting where I go all in for 2 weeks and then back to Oreos and Dairy Queen runs and all that. So I really think like drawing a line in the sand for my nutrition like that, it was a game changer for me, because I had to put it out there to the world that I was a Beachbody coach, and I knew people were waiting for me to fail. And I wasn't about to let that happen. I'm very motivated by proving people wrong. So if you are that way, make sure you challenge yourself in that way. I don't like to lose. And so I always put that out there. Like, a goal gets shared, you're going to be more likely to go for it. So I'm going to kind of break this down in chunks for the beginning. So drawing the line in the sand, that worked. I got in the best shape of my life. I had always told myself I would always have thunder thighs. I would always be super curvy. And now I have an athletic build, and I had never seen my legs get so lean. I was like, what in the world? So fast forward a few months, and my husband, Caleb, and I, we started dating when we were 15. Like, who does that? So we've been together forever, went to high school together, and went to college together. We got married, bought a house, and the next step was, okay, let's start a family. I had been coaching for probably 4 months at the time. And I remember calling one of my mentors and being like, all right, I don't know how to do this. I'm about to get pregnant. Like, nobody's going to want to follow me when I'm pregnant. And back then, like, coaching was so new. I didn't follow any other coaches. And she was like, first of all, seeing someone work out when they're pregnant is like watching a purple cow. Like, it's something you never see. And so when you watch someone exercise when they're pregnant, you are so drawn in by that because you're like, whoa, that's super inspiring. Like, everyone always uses that as an excuse to stop working on their health and fitness and eat everything that they want. So I became really excited about that. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And a full year went by, and we weren't pregnant. And so if you've ever gone through infertility, you have to wait an entire year of trying on your own before you can go see anyone, before they do any tests. Basically, we found out that our only way of conceiving was to do in vitro, which is insanely expensive, probably ranging between $15,000 and $30,000, just kind of depends on what insurance covers and all that. So it was a really tough pill to swallow. And I remember feeling like, okay, this is a really, really hard thing. I felt like in my coaching business, I felt like part of me was like pulled back because I had this weight on my shoulders and nobody really knew what was going on. And I always remembered hearing, as a coach, you should be willing to do what others are not willing to do. And so I felt it on my heart to share my journey with infertility, as scary as that was. And my biggest fear with that was my parents and Caleb's parents. And what were, people, their friends followed me on social media, and I was like, are people going to say things to them? Is that going to be awkward? Is that going to be uncomfortable? And I remember sitting down with Caleb's parents and saying, I really feel it. I feel this in my heart that I'm supposed to share this. I don't know why. I just feel that I'm supposed to help other people out there who are struggling in silence. Because when you go through something, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you have a conversation with someone, they're like, oh, so-and-so went through this too. And all of a sudden you start hearing of all these people who have gone through a similar journey as you. And you're like, why is this such a secret? And so I got the okay from all of them. They were all fine with me sharing my journey, and I put it out there. Remember, it was a New Year's post because I made it my resolution to either get 6-pack abs or a baby bump. I made it into like a joke, but kind of put myself out there. Like, we're struggling with infertility, and my inbox blew up with support. It blew up with people who were going through the same thing. You would have never guessed that they were going through it because nobody talks about it. So anyways, we started our IVF journey. I was super open about all of it. We did our first transfer, and it didn't take. And at that moment, it was one of the most devastating moments of my life. And I remember getting on a Diamond leadership call, and I remember just all of a sudden losing it. And I was like, who in the world is going to want to join me? Like, I'm sitting here, I'm an absolute mess. I have I don't have any way of leading anyone right now because I can barely like take care of myself. And someone told me that's part of self-care. Like, you just have to pick yourself up. Sometimes it's not always like crushing your workouts. It's picking yourself up and just taking care of yourself and forcing yourself to feel good and to fuel yourself in whatever way that looks like. And so I just kept sharing that journey because it was so relatable and so many people can relate to that. And that's super rare to see from a coach. So we did a second transfer. We went right into it. Takes forever. Like, it was probably 3 months later by the time we did our actual transfer. And we found out we were pregnant with twins. Like, prayers answered. Like, oh my goodness, this is what we were waiting for. Oh, like everything was just falling into place. I was the happiest pregnant woman on the face of the earth. And everything was going smooth. It was going great. And then we did our 20-week ultrasound. Everything looked perfect. We found out we were having a boy and a girl. We came home. We started writing down names. We literally wrote down 2 boy names and 3 girl names. And 3 weeks later, I went into labor. And it was super sudden. I came home from work. I was a school teacher. I came home and I just felt off. And I remember I sat down on the couch, and I normally would come home and work out. And I was like, you know what? I'm just feeling off. So I took it easy. And then that night, all of a sudden I started having contractions. And I was like, okay, I'm 23 weeks pregnant. There's no way I'm in labor. And I looked up Braxton Hicks contractions, and it said, if you're having more than 4 in an hour, you need to go into the hospital. And we left, and on our way into the 15-minute drive to the hospital, my contractions were 3 minutes apart. So there was no way of stopping it. I gave birth to Blake and Kenzie the next day. They both weighed just over a pound. And it was the scariest moment in our entire lives. And we lost Blake about a week and a half later. He had a significant brain trauma, brain bleed. And Kenzie kept fighting for her life. She stayed in the NICU for 139 days. We had about an hour commute there and back for a huge stretch of time. And I don't know how I did it looking back, but when we found out we were having twins, I knew I wanted to stay home with them. And I was planning on quitting my job. And I literally like had a countdown on my school calendar. And I was like, all right, I'm due in June. My last day of work is going to be in April. I'm going to take an early maternity leave, and I'm just going to be done. Well, that's not how it happened. But I remember when it happened, sitting in that hospital room and knowing there is no way I can go back to work. And they told us from the get-go that if they survived, that they couldn't go to daycare for their first 2 years of life. So I had that, knowing that, like, I no longer had a choice. And at that moment, I drew another line in the sand. And I said, I can't keep yo-yoing with this business, because I kind of started the same way with my fitness and exercise. I was a success starter. I hit Success Club my first 3 months as a coach. And then I yo-yoed for 3 years, 2 years probably. But then that happened, and I was like, no, I can't keep saying maybe. I can't keep kind of working hard when it was convenient. And so I brought my bag of work to Kenzie's room every single day. And every time I pumped, I worked. I was in my inbox. I was messaging people. I was constantly inviting people to the business. I was inviting people. I didn't actually run any challenge groups while I was in the NICU, because I was just like, I'm just going to lead people. And I know that our team actually now really leads with the team. The team gets the best results. I wasn't like using that verbiage back then, but now like that's, if you are in a situation, you're like, I need this to work, lead with the team, because you know that as soon as someone enrolls, it's like this huge commitment saying, I'm going to do this. I want to live fit forever, not just for a month, not just for a couple of months, not just till I get in shape for my wedding. I want to always live fit. And so that's what I kept inviting people to. And that was a little over 2 years ago. And that summer, it was really, really tight, but I left my job. And this is like the hardest thing, but in May, I had to go back to work for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks, I had to leave Kinsey in the NICU. I was a first grade teacher, and I actually got sick because I was around little germs. And I had 3 days in a row where I couldn't go see my daughter in the hospital because I couldn't get her sick. And I just knew I could not live my life like that. I could not live through someone else's circumstances. And so I tell my team all the time, make Beachbody your reason, not your excuse. I have people tell me, give me excuses for money all the time. I have someone on my team who told me they really wanted Bowflex weights. Well, make Beachbody your reason to go help more people so that you can buy the Bowflex weights. Don't use it as a reason to not buy Shakeology, not buy the performance line that are going to help you get results. And those results will help you help other people. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So ever since that day in February 2017, I have not missed a day. I show up. I lead with my heart, and I do what most people wouldn't do. Most people, if they lose a child, they're gone. They need time for themselves. And for me personally, I found my platform, sharing my journey, to be so therapeutic. And I didn't realize it at the time, but me sharing it wasn't only helping others, but it opened the door for other people, especially on Instagram, people who are part of your niche, to reach out and help you. So I just want to encourage you, and I know not everyone has a crazy story like me. Don't compare your story to mine, but everyone, you are going to have ups and downs throughout this business, and I want to encourage you to share your journey and to lean in. Because I would not be where I am today with so much strength and so much confidence if I didn't have this opportunity. And I am constantly watching people who have been through something very similar where they lose one of their kiddos. And I just have to tell you, it is really hard watching a lot of people who don't invest in personal development. It's hard talking to them because they cannot look at glass half full. You know, I think of Rachel Hollis, and she shared a story about how she, walked in and was the person who found her brother who committed suicide. And you'll find, I hate it when people say everything happens for a reason. Like, I'm not a violent or aggressive or mean person, but I want to punch them in the face, anyone in the face, for saying that. Because that is the most hurtful thing that someone thinks, if someone were to think that this was supposed to happen to me. But I do know that by that happening to me, it allowed something even greater to happen by me to connect with so many more people who have been through something similar. It's allowed me to heal in a faster, healthier way. So that's just like the bottom of my heart right there.
It's so good. So you have to know about our team, Lauren. We're like a lot of blues, so a lot of criers.
I'm a blue too.
Yeah. So I'm like, we'll go back. Because you guys, and we're going to open it up here. We've got some time, so we can definitely open it up for some Q&A. So if you guys are uncomfortable asking her with your mic off or on or whatever you want to call it, unmuted, you can type it in the chat right now while I'm talking. But I witnessed Lauren from a from a place of not knowing her very well, but knowing of her and knowing of her situation. And any person in the world would be like, Lauren, it's fine to step away from Beachbody. Like I don't think there'd be, and if anything, like when there are hard things that you guys walk through that you bring to me, there's never a moment where I'm like, don't stop Beachbody through it all. Like no one would ever be mad about that. But I can understand that idea that it was almost a healing process in a way. And that as I said in the beginning, there's the fitness and there's the nutrition, you guys, and I, there's the business, but there is like an entire like ecosystem of just growth, personal betterment, mindset shifting that like, if you were to choose to stop coming onto team calls or to choose to not go to summit or choose to, see if it works for a month and then whatever, you would just miss out on that so much. This weekend, I watched something that was called the Hope Cycle. And it talks about that it's inevitable. Lauren said it too, that you will have ups and downs. There will be struggle. There's not a single person on this call right now that can't attest to some form of struggle in their life at some point. And I can almost promise you that struggle will continue to cycle back. Yeah. So that's my depressing news for tonight. But but the cool part is if we persevere, this is the cycle though, you guys, if we persevere through the struggle, okay, not only is that perseverance going to build us character, but then we come out more hopeful for the next time that happens. And so then we hit struggle again, and we know how to persevere a little harder because we were taught something in the last struggle that we can use in this one, and then it builds our character with this one, and then it just keeps cycling. We just keep getting stronger. But where most people get stuck, and this was so interesting to me, and where Lauren never got stuck, and why I had to have her speak to you guys, is she didn't stay in the struggle. As hard as it is to put one foot in front of the other, as hard as every post probably was, as hard as her time hop is sometimes, I'm sure as hard as it is to get on a call and have somebody like me say, hey, share your story, please. Again, as difficult as that's her trudging forward one step at a time. I love it. Kelsey said, I want to give you amazing props for what you did. As someone who sees what you went through every single day at work, you are an incredible inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I also wanted to add on, this is probably a huge piece of it, is show your people how you get through it. So for me, I showed how important self-care was. And even though my daughter was in the NICU for that long, I still practiced self-care once my body was able to take that on. So I have one of the coaches who's on my team now was actually a nurse and started following me at the start of this journey. And she said, there was one moment where I shared in my stories that I forgot my tennis shoes. And I went to the mall and I got myself a pair of second tennis shoes and left them in the car because the hospital had a gym. And so every day I would take an hour for myself and I'd go work out and I'd come back up. And so like, think about how you can squeeze that in. How can you show people how to take care of yourself? If you're traveling in the airport, yeah, it feels funny. It's awkward having people make comments to you or stare at you funnily, but it's worth it, and it's just paving the way for people and letting them know like, hey, let's make working out in the airport more of the norm than eating at McDonald's. Like, let's make this the norm. Let's make that weird, eating at McDonald's. So
I love that. I love that. Guys, seriously, you have like someone in front of you that can answer any question. Ask them. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any question. Our team hit Premier last year. That was, I say it now, it was a doozy because the last couple of months were like, ooh. And I know Brittany was right along there with me pushing too. And it's a lot of work. A lot of things have to align.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. I'm like, it's so cool to see. And you guys, like, that's what I talk about on the team page. Like when you watch someone else have success, like, man, I just want to sit back and clap for her. Right. Cause you see, like, I don't even see all the grit that goes behind the scenes in her success, but like, man, like it's just impressive because it means that it's possible.
But you know what's cool? It really is. It's just a decision. it's just a decision that you're going to go for it. And if you tell your team about it, and I'm a blue too. And so I don't know if you guys have done the Enneagram test, but I'm a 2 on there, which is pretty similar to the blue, but it's like I have such a hard time asking for people to do things for me. And so asking my team to push for Premier, for Elite, was the hardest thing ever. But I have to remind myself, and I want you guys to remind yourself this too, if it aligns with their goals, you can't feel bad about asking for someone to push with you. Not for you, with you. And I think sometimes when we get in our coaching journey, this is like total squirrel moment, but sometimes when we get into coaching and maybe you've hit emerald, maybe you've hit diamond, it's really easy to take your foot off the gas and to look at your team and be like, come with me. I want you to come with me. But all of a sudden you stop and you're just trying to pull your coaches with you. And then all of a sudden you've taken a huge step back too. And so no one will ever build this business for you, but it is so fun when someone decides they're going to build it with you.
That's really cool. I like that. If you guys aren't going to ask questions, I'm going to start throwing some at her. Okay, Lauren, tell us about the best month, and you might not know it off the top of your head, but like you can think through maybe the best month you had in terms of helping other people, aka Success Club, right? And what do you think fueled that fire that month? Maybe what are some of the best practices you had in your best month?
Yeah. Okay. So I want to say my best month started in November, because we had a diamond retreat, and I got there and I don't think I realized that I was in a funk, but I was kind of feeling uninspired. And had been a coach long enough that I was just kind of going through the motions, but there wasn't a lot of inspiration behind my feelings. And I need that. I need to feel like I'm doing good and putting good out into the world. And at this diamond retreat, Trina Gray, she was talking about, I can't even remember exactly what she was talking about, but she was talking about challenge groups. And she's just like, think of why you started. What was it that pulled you in? What was it that you struggled with, and how did you overcome that? And so that lit a fire in me. And I know that sounds so simple, but I was like, yo-yo dieters, like I need to help all of the people who have ever struggled with yo-yo dieting. And so I created a challenge group called Forever Healthy. And I literally just made graphics that were things that I had learned that changed the game for me, like healthy swaps, have this instead of that, like ground turkey versus ground beef, and almond milk instead of cow's milk. So just like such simple things. And I shared about eating 80-20 versus eating clean for a week straight and then binging the next week. So I did that for a few months, and it was 3 months in that was my best month. So, and I think I hit like Success Club 30. And remember, guys, I was the yo-yoer. I was like hit 6, miss 2 months, hit 6, miss 3 months. Like, so, and then that kept going. So pretty fun.
I love that. And I love that she shared, you guys, that she had lost inspiration, that like there was a lull in her business. It happens. It's normal, right? But that's not like, remember, it's not your reason to quit. Like you go through it, right? You trudge through it. But I love that she dug deep at like, let me reflect a little bit though. Let me get that back and let me make a fun way, because that's the coolest part about being a coach, and why at first when I was a teacher, I gravitated and loved this so much. Like, I mean, I still gravitate and love it, but as a teacher, it was such a different outlet for me because I was totally in control of whatever content or whatever curriculum I wanted to make. I didn't have to listen to anybody else. Oh, Kristen's got a great question. She says, how did you find all these people on social media? Talk us through that process to maybe get to SC30 those months.
Right. So I would say at that point, I'd been coaching for a long time. So I had already been connecting with different people. And I want to say at this time, like hashtags were maybe just kind of making their debut. So I honestly don't even remember like how I started growing it back then. Like it seems so long ago. But for now, like I'm always looking at who is watching my stories, and I always send them a message. Like if they're watching, and especially if they watch through like the full series, I'm reaching out to them. I'm saying, hey, thank you so much for watching my journey. I have so much fun sharing it. Have you ever thought about joining me? So I just invite them like that. If they're watching me, that's not a cold invite. They're opening the door. So, but I have found a lot of people with hashtags, and I just go connect with them. You know, first time mom, I found a ton of people with IVF, infertility, and now being a preemie mom. I just find all the hashtags that have related to my journey. And I think it's really easy to start thinking like, I need to do all the fitness hashtags. Those, and not to say you can't find people that way, but those aren't going to be the most relatable people to you. Most of the time they've already started their journey, and you want to find the people who are maybe in the same phase of life as you, or the same phase of life as when you started.
Love that. And you even said that back in the beginning with your infertility journey, that was like the start of you kind of getting beyond Beachbody.
Right.
Let's not just talk about Beachbody and my yo-yo dieting, but let's talk about this that people are hiding under the rug. And actually there's a lot of people who struggle with it. So I wrote that down, you guys, and I would encourage you as well. I wrote, what are you hiding from others that could connect you to them? And those are the hashtags to start searching, right? Heather asked, what did you do different to stop yo-yoing with your business? So when it came to that, what were some of the like non-negotiables to like stop the yo-yo madness?
I think the biggest thing is to always have messages in your inbox waiting for you when you do your power hour. That's my biggest thing. Is I can do all the posts in the world, I can do all the stories, but if I don't have messages waiting for me in my inbox, it's not moving. It's not going anywhere.
And so I want to break that down maybe even a little further.
Yeah.
And you can correct me, but I believe this means that the day before she's having to reach out to a lot of people so that when she wakes up and is ready to sit down and focus on her business, there are people to talk to from the previous day. Am I correct?
Right. And I just want to say really quick that if you guys haven't taken on Brittany's, what I want to say, your Google Doc, your sheets of tracking conversations, my team is going crazy over that right now. And I just want to say it works. So if you haven't implemented that, make sure you're doing it. And I'm going to say it one step further. If you struggle with having new conversations, make sure you watch last week's National Wake Up Call. Because if you implement that with Brittany's system, you're going to be sitting really well.
Lauren, it's kind of funny. I love having guest speakers on because it's like, you know, they're not impressed by me anymore.
For sure. I get it. My team's like,
yeah. I love that you said that, you guys. I will reshare that video training that I did for you guys on that. But she's referring to the follow-up system where we have a Google spreadsheet and you set the follow-up date and what you're going to follow up with, so that when you sit down to work, you already know, okay, today's the 13th. This is my list of people I got to talk to today. And then whatever else trickles in through your stories, like she said, when you're inviting people and connecting to new people you followed and all that good stuff. But yes,
when you start it, it's honestly really sad. It's like, oh my gosh, that person slipped through the cracks and I haven't talked to them in 6 months and they were really interested. Like, they need my help. I need to make sure that I'm there for them.
Any other questions, you guys? This is all really good stuff.
You guys are so quiet.
We're gonna talk to us last. We've got like 4 minutes left till I don't want to steal any more of your time tonight. But talk to us. Last question for you. you guys went Premier last year, which anyone on this call, what Premier entails is you have to be at least lifetime 2-star. I'm not sure last year how it worked, but this year you at least need one brand new diamond to be developed on your team. And then there's points that you have to earn, you guys. And these points, like right now, I would make your brain spin if I were to break down where they all come from. But you have to understand that every single one of you sitting here play a role in whether or not your team hits a goal like Premier or Elite, or doesn't hit it. Because at the end of the day, Lauren could be an outstanding 2-star diamond coach. She could hit SC every month the entire year. She could be rocking her challenge groups and like hosting the most awesome team calls. But if her team isn't helping other people, if her team is not leveling up in their ranks, then her team will not hit that goal. So it becomes a team goal anytime you hit Premier or Elite. So talk to us as we wrap up tonight. What did that look like climate-wise on your team to all push for something like that together at the end of last year?
Yeah. So I always kept my team up to date. Like once a month, I would share with them where we were at points. And nobody really understood what it meant, which was okay. But I'm like, okay, we're inching closer. You can see that there's a gap here and we're closing the gap. But really, I loved utilizing group chats last year. And so all of my newer coaches were in that thread, and we were just cheering each other on. And we would set weekly goals like, I'm going to hit SC2 this week, or I'm going to help 2 people this week, whatever their goal was. And we all had, so for Premier Elite, it's a really big deal to hit Success Club, and you're building a successful business when you can duplicate Success Club and you're helping your coaches help others consistently. And so like, that's the whole purpose behind it, is building other successful leaders as well. But it was so fun rallying with them. I just have to say, gifts have changed the game of having a message thread, because when someone would report back something that they did to earn a point, like we all just like, the fanciest, craziest gifts ever to kind of rally. But yeah, I think that was super fun. And it's so funny because I don't think any of those coaches had met each other, but I'm so excited for them to all meet each other at Summit this year, because there's just like a special bond with pushing for that and making it happen. Literally December 30th was the day that we locked it in. And even then it was like, hopefully I calculated that right, but I think we're good. But
that's awesome. I love it. And I love how you just, all the way down to a new coach, plays a role in this. So don't ever discredit yourself, that you do play a role in an awesome team goal. Actually, next week when we go into our Emerald University call, I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys where we ended up the second Friday of every month. They refresh the placing, the numbers. So your ranking in the organization, in the Beachbody organization. And so I have that, and I have our points, and I have our checks where we're good, and our blanks where we're not so good right now. And so I am going to be starting the call with that next week. So if you guys are wondering, if you're like, well, where do we sit, or what points do we have, I will be sharing that with you guys next week. I wanted to make sure that I could do that face-to-face with you guys. So stay tuned for that. Super excited to see where the last part of 2019 takes our team, 2019 takes your team, Lauren. I know both of us are going for Elite. Yeah. So are you going for being at the leadership in the fall?
Possibly. I've been in a big debate with this, because 4-star, we're very close to 4-star, but 5-star is a big stretch. And since I have my second business center, I'm like, I think I'm going to go for 2-star in that one versus 5-star. So.
And the cool thing is, guys, when you start to get into the higher ups in the business and you start developing a second business center and all this stuff, it's your business. Like, you decide, is 5-star important to me, or is it more important to me to build depth over here? And that's the cool thing. You get choice in all of that. And so anyway, Lauren, thank you so much for being on tonight, you guys. Like, can we all just unmute ourselves for a second and give her like, woo! Can we do that? Like, thank you, some woos, some woo-woos on a Monday night, girl. Thank you. Something.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, let's take a picture really quick before I forget, because I always do. I'm always ready to hit recording. All right, fix your faces, people. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yay! Thank you again so much, Lauren. Guys, I'll get the recording up. I hope you wrote down golden nuggets that you can take back to the team page. Have a wonderful Monday night.